You guys need to meet my friends in Madeira because that place is amazing. I really want to go.
It's amazing.
I know.
Welcome to Mayfields Move to Madeira. Join us on our journey from the U.S. to Madeira Island in Portugal as we share our resources and experiences. Follow along as we explore relocation, learn Portuguese, become more self-sufficient, and work to build our absolute dream life. Don't miss out, subscribe now, and be part of our exciting adventure.
This is Darcy's iPhone. And yes, this is a gigantic carrot iPhone case. And this is Chase, one of our friends living abroad. Chase hosts a podcast called About Abroad, which is all about embracing new horizons and creating that sweet, sweet location independence. In a recent episode, we heard from Allison Baxley, an expat living the dream in Portugal. When we listened to the episode, we learned about her summit called the Portugal Plan. As we dove into the summit, we crossed paths with Heather Binder. She's the mastermind behind Boots on the Ground Portugal, a boutique consulting firm that holds clients' hands through the labyrinth of legalities and paperwork, guiding clients with ease as they take this monumental first step towards relocating to Portugal. Heather offers a free 30-minute informational consultation on all things visas. So without further ado, let's dive into our call with Heather.
So we have Dan and Darcy, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Where did you guys hear about me? Did you do the summit?
We did the summit.
Okay.
Darcy was watching your piece and she's like, I love her. We need to.
Well, and so Heather was on my dear friend Chase's podcast, if you know his podcast, About Abroad. So I do a lot with running remote and a lot of work in Europe with remote work and digital nomads. So I'm a remote work consultant. So I've led remote teams for Yeah. So I'm actually going to Ireland next week to talk at a remote work conference. And it's kind of one of the catalysts for us being over in Europe as well. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but anyways, but that's how I heard of Heather. And then through Heather, heard of you.
Allison.
I'm sorry.
That's Allison. Okay. I was like, is there another Heather?
No.
Okay.
You're the Heather.
Yes. Okay. Well, I want to talk business with you too another time or whatever. Cause there's tons and tons of people and there's a lot of confusion and et cetera, et cetera. So do you guys want to jump in with your questions and where you at and where are you guys calling from? What state do you live in?
So we're in San Diego, California.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. I'll let you jump in or I can jump in.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a list of questions for you.
Sure.
I think the biggest things for us is like really just creating that timeline. And we want to share with you kind of where we are financially to see which visa program would be the way to go. And then just some other questions from there. But I think that's probably going to be the most valuable for us is trying to figure out which visa to go with in the financial situation we're currently in. And then insight from you would be awesome.
Right now, as far as like financially, we both have our own LLCs. We're both independent. Dan is a little bit more of a gig worker. He's a cinematographer, so he works on set. His network is here, but he does have some network in Morocco. He does a lot of off-road. I'll let you talk.
I do a lot of like off-road rallies where it's like a multi-day events and I'm just on the media team. So I've got a few.
I love you guys. Like you both have skills that are like amazingly useful. Yes. That's cool. Morocco. Nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I do a lot of that here in the US and I think I'd be able to keep some of those larger gigs for me. So obviously I'll be building a network over there. And
I was going to ask you, are you paying yourself as a W-2 or are you just getting your money through like you're doing owner draw to the LLC?
I'm just doing owner draw right now.
Same.
Okay.
So we both do owner draw of the LLC. Neither of our income. I just started my business in August. I was at Airbnb for 4 years and then at Stripe and a lot of other places, but we don't have consistent income. Like it's like I'll maybe get a huge project for 3 years and I understand the consistency piece. So we're very fortunate. We have a nest egg. And Dan also has his family has a farm.
Yeah. So I get dividends on a passive income basis. So
that's going to not be taxed here. You under that dividends are good. Okay.
Yeah. So that was my biggest question on the visa situation because I know that the D7, if you have passive income meeting a certain threshold, would I qualify with that amount? Would the D7 recognize that as being fully passive?
Or could we pay ourselves from our saving? And it's not a retirement account. It's literally just a savings account.
Cash savings.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. Okay. Give me a second. The dividends are paid annually?
They're paying more quarterly.
Quarterly. Okay. That's even better.
And it's via a K1 statement.
K1 statement. Okay, perfect. Let's see here. Okay. And how old are you guys?
I'm 34.
And I'm 37.
Oh, to be in your 30s.
And we just did our honeymoon in Portugal, and it was strategic to go over there and like scope it out and be like, hey, yeah, we want to live here. So,
Awesome. Congrats. I'm about to get married as well. So
congratulations.
there you go. I know. It's something. I know.
It's a lot of
It's a lot.
work.
Okay. So no, I think you guys are actually perfect D7 candidates.
Cool. Because our long-term goal is immigration.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
1,140 a month is your minimum euro requirement. And if
So
I take your dividends, that alone is a good story. And then on top of it, you've got cash savings. I can make a story out of that. And do you have something that says, like, do you have anything that talks about the dividends or it being annual or it being like, something that I could show like a history on or?
Yeah, I mean, I've got 3 years of K1 statements with those yearly dividends.
Even with that money in the bank, that's great because you could take that and even divide it down. But I love showing that you have that reserves and that you have this steady income.
Okay.
That's a story that, I love all day long. I go by the keep it simple, stupid, as you saw on the summit, that method. And D7 is proven. Like I was saying, if you can go D7, it makes sense to me. If you're really looking to move to Portugal, stay in Portugal, blah, blah. So that's really clean for me.
Okay.
Easy as that. Now, you can make it more complicated, but the point is to make it easy and smooth. And that's an easy and smooth story. But those things all make sense. And you've got the funds there and you've got this regular income coming. So you can be living out of your own means, which is a version of D7 passive income retirement visa. And you're not borderline. You've got at least that much money minimum plus cash in the bank.
Yeah.
So that's like that's a no-brainer.
Do we want to talk timeline on that D7 process?
Yeah, well, and I think timeline just from your perspective, like, I mean, I think once we are ready, like we'd love to work with you, obviously, and to like help through the process and hire you for that. We have a lot of things to think through when it comes to shipping. We have a golden retriever. We live pretty light already, to be honest.
Okay.
With you. Like we live in a 600 square foot house. Everything we own fits in our home. So we have a pretty simple lifestyle. But with Dan wanting to build a network over there, we're hoping within 2 years, we feel comfortable making the move and just kind of want to hear from you from thinking about all the steps, like how long in advance would you say, I mean, obviously 4 months for the SEP appointment and everything, but like, what's your suggested kind of timeline?
Criteria is changing all the time. Things are changing all the time. SEP is going to be shutting down. They say October, but who knows? And they're transitioning to a different version or a different agency name. I don't know what I read it this morning. It's like AIMI or something like that. So timeline, it's really up to you guys. I don't think things are going to get cheaper anytime soon. I don't think things are going to get easier anytime soon as far as moving or requirements or things like that. So I would expect things will get harder and, I would be a little careful because your income is right there right now, but they could increase that. $7.60 minimum is minimum wage. It's not enough to live on here, right? So if that went up a lot, that would make it a little bit harder. I don't think it would be impossible because you still have a lot of good cash savings. You could say you could supplement. But if you're talking like, what's it going to be like in a year and a half or 2 years from now? Who knows? I have been here. June will be 2 years that I've been here. And at that time, it was a 6-month lease and it was 705 euros. So things change over time. Is establishing the business connection so that your business remains consistent is your time delay. Is that right? Is that kind of your focus?
Yeah, we were kind of talking about this before the call. It's like really for me to feel comfortable of making the move, like I would want to feel comfortable from an income standpoint, other than just my farm income, that like I
Sure.
knew that our needs were going to be met. I don't, yeah. So that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
Darcy just started her business as well, and she just finished with her first client. So I know she's going through those same things of getting new clients and all that. So there's just that uncertainty of being self-employed, owning your own business. Where's the next client coming from, kind of thing.
Heather's shaking her head because she completely understands.
Yeah.
I left, a figure successful 28 years as a real estate broker situation to kind of quit everything and come here. So I get it. And I'm in the midst of that kind of reinvention and building that business. But I will tell you this. It's like 1950s America here. The opportunity is huge. The expat community, the want to be expat community, there's so many needs that are not being fulfilled. There's so much opportunity. I mean, there's not good pet sitting network here. There's not,
Right.
An Angie's List. There's not I have like 80 million business ideas a day. I feel like, whether it's an adjunct to like, oh, that would tie in, like almost everything ties into what I do too. So it's like, when you have this network of people and like reputation and whatever, then it's just a matter of what do you guys offer? That's something I can offer and incorporate in and, help funnel people to you and that sort of thing. Like that sort of opportunity just really, really, really exists. And it's so easy to get on all these content makers and everything else because everybody is looking for content all the time. So they're looking to interview and they're looking, Allison, I don't even know how she found me, but I just got an email invitation. And next thing you know, I'm on this summit, which was great. It's amazing because the expat community is so supportive. And so many people aren't working anymore, but they want to see you successful. They want to support you, People just have to like you is what it comes down to. If you're likable, then, then what do you offer? How can they help you, et cetera, et cetera. So I think I understand the monetary aspect because I definitely feel that, situation and pressure myself. So I get it. But at the same time, if you haven't gotten to where you're at so far by like sitting around on your butt, you guys are both independent entrepreneurs and been doing all sorts of stuff. So you have ability. And if there's a place you can do it, I think is the place, I think the opportunity really is here. But the question is, where do you need to be comfortable? It's not really a timing issue. It's just a matter of your comfort level or budgeting and saying, okay, we're going to have this much we're going to spend, knowing that, it's going to take time to get there, but it is a comfort thing. I do get that. At the same time, I think at some point you have to just bite the bullet too.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, that kind of comes down to some of the costs associated with getting everything over there. Do we sell everything here? Do we ship?
Because we're moving to Madeira, which is a little different.
Yeah.
Oh, right. You guys need to meet my friends in Madeira because that place is amazing. I really want to go.
It's amazing.
I know. I see. This is my plan. I help people all throughout Portugal, and then they're going to be like,
and then we come cook you dinner and you can stay with us.
There you go. And I'll be like, come to Caldish,
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually had a party last weekend and I have a client that came, she's living in Porto and she came down. And then I have a friend of a friend that was in Setúbal and she came up. And then I had some other people from just online that like watched me and stuff. And they were north of Porto, which is like 2.5 hours. So I had like 5 people that traveled hours to come here for a party, it was a really good party. So I think it was worth it. It was a lot of fun, really cool people. So it was good. Tell me about your stuff. Like, what are you thinking? What do you have that's not replaceable or that's unique or that you have got to keep?
I mean, I think everything can be replaced, right? They're just things.
Well, no, I mean, I have art. I have ceramic art. My ex is an artist. Like there's things that can't be.
We have like the things we would want to take. If I'm looking at our house right now, we've got really nice caned furniture. So like we'd want to bring a dresser, our small couch that's behind us. It's like the cloud couch from Restoration Hardware. We love it.
Restoration Hardware, good stuff. Yes.
Yeah. And then a coffee table, 2 Moroccan rugs.
Oh my gosh, I love your stuff already. I know, I can see. I have I have Indonesian furniture in my bedroom. And I brought this armoire that's massive, and it took like 5 guys hoisting it up. I have video. It's like absolutely terrifying video because I expected to see it like fall and crash into pieces on my courtyard. And they actually got it up over the balcony and got it in, but it was like an ordeal. Yeah.
Was that something that you had shipped from the US? Okay.
So I think that's our question. So yeah, it'd be a couch, 2 rugs, a dresser, maybe our bed, which breaks down pretty easy, and a mattress.
Probably be a small shipping.
It'd be a small shipping container.
It wouldn't be a full shipping container. It would honestly be a part of a pallet. It would be a pallet that's part of a container. U-Pack We Ship or Portugalia are both good for that. I believe neither of those will require the baggage certificates. Okay. I believe, because when you don't do a full container, my understanding is then like you'll do an itinerary, or not an itinerary, but a list of your stuff for them, but then they'll put that on like their main manifest, something like that. So that's good because they'll take care of that piece as far as the baggage certificate stuff, but verify that with them. But that is not a shipping container of stuff.
Okay. And is that cost for like a pallet? I mean, I know it's hard for you to answer. I know you're on the mainland, but just if we're thinking ballpark, are we looking at like $5,000, $10,000? Like,
I honestly don't know. I paid out of Phoenix. I paid about $10,000 almost 2 years ago for a 40-foot container.
Okay.
Now I know prices went up significantly after that, but so it's not going to be more than $10,000. It should be considerably less, I would think. But you can make some calls and find out that, and they should be able to give you some estimates. I would take a video of like your stuff.
Okay.
Yep. And I would recommend your mattress because the mattresses here are really hard.
Okay.
And I don't know about you, but I'm picky about that. And as mattresses are not cheap. So yeah, if you have something you really like that's in good shape, I would bring it. And I did feel like attached definitely to my art. And also I moved to my elderly parents and they had stuff that, like I had a reason I need to do a shipping container, but even if it was just me, I would have at least shipped my art. So, I get it.
So you said 2 companies there, U-Pack We Ship, and which one?
Portugalia. And then I used a company called RSS LLC. I think it's rssllc.net. I want to say, let me check really quick. I don't know if they do partials or not, because I did a whole container. RSS
that you used?
LLC.net. Let me just see. That's the company I used to do my 40-foot. And I did have to do a baggage certificate because it was a full container. Just consider that. So
what's the timeline on that shipment?
So those can super range. I mean, I've seen people that are like 60 days of shipping container. And then other people, I was just talking to the friends I was with, and theirs was delayed by like 6 months.
Yeah.
So there can be some crazy, for me, it was picked up June 15th and it was delivered to the house October 9th. So it was like 4 months.
Okay.
You're just playing with a lot of things with huge variation and you have no control over it.
And how do you deal with, so I think one thing that's been tripping me up, and I don't know about you, babe, but like so let's say we decide to go and our potential arrival date is April, just to.
She keeps moving this timeline on.
I know it's scaring the crap out of you. I could see that whole exchange.
Scaring him really bad. It doesn't scare me.
It's okay. Just breathe. You'll get through it. It's okay.
So let's say I'm going to go in April. So I know we need a 12-month lease as of to the requirements today, which may change. How do we go about doing that? So like, we're going to go to Madeira in November on vacation, but also just kind of feel out a little bit more, kind of solidify our timeline. Like, what are we going to bring over, all of these things? So 2 questions for you. 1, what relationship should we like focus on building when we're in Madeira in the fall?
Sure.
And 2, how the hell do you get the lease when you're not there? And then this shipping kind of variables, like how does that work?
Yeah, so there's like
So-
getting the lease, getting the visa, and then get the shipping going.
So the shipping, you have a year from the issuance of your residency card, your temporary residency card. So I came here in June. My SEF appointment was August 16th. So I had a year from August 16th to ship my stuff. Okay. Someone asked me this the other day, and I'm honestly not positive if that year is from like when you ship it. Because if it gets delayed, like it's not your fault, it gets delayed, right? So I don't think it counts when it actually arrives. I think it counts when you ship out. But I need to get some clarity on that, to tell you the truth, because I'm not positive. But what I would say is, like, are you guys wanting to buy something? You're just going to want to rent in Madeira, or what?
Rent for the first year.
For the first year, really feel it out. I think ideally, like if everything works out and we love it, I mean, we want to buy a home there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's pretty affordable still in Madeira.
It is. It is.
But
the
again,
islands.
for the mortgage, our income isn't consistent. So there's a little more stability, I think, that we'll need for the mortgage. And the island, all the towns on the island are very different from one another, and the weather patterns are very different across the island.
You need to
We want to
experience
do a
it.
lot of, we have a couple friends who are Madeiran and who live on the island, but like, just, we want to figure out which village is right for us.
For you guys. Yeah. There's a couple ways to do this. One, I wouldn't necessarily, if you end up with the lease and you have a place to put the container, like you have a place to unload it, whatever, then yes, go ahead and send it off. If not, then talk to the company about packing your stuff up in a pallet or whatever it is and storing it until you're ready for it to actually come. And can you do that? So can you pack up this pallet? Can they store it in wherever the heck they're going to store it? And then when you're ready, it's actually, you're like, okay, bring it over. Okay. So I would talk to these companies and ask them what their options are. You don't want to necessarily store it here. If it's a pallet, it's not on a container, so it shouldn't cost you an exorbitant amount to store it, because you're not tying up a container, right? So yes, it's like storage, but it's storage. So I would consider that. 2, the lease can be a tricky part because you have to get the lease. You aren't living there yet. It's this whole little dance. So some people are doing, an example of this is some people are coming over before they have their visa. Now it's fine if you come over before your visa is approved, but it's not fine if you don't go back to the US, get this stamp affixed, and then fly in on your visa. I never, ever recommend that, because they can check that. Like there's nothing we can do to fix that.
Yeah, no, I think it's very clear. From you and everybody else, that we will be in the States. We will apply for the visa, and then we will make the move on that visa.
I think that big question we have is just the fact of getting the lease before you're actually there, and then proving it to the office. Hey, we've got a 12-month lease lined up.
Yeah, how do we do that?
You have 2 options. One is you have like a legit lease, in which case you're going to probably be paying for quite a while before you're actually able to use it, which sucks. Now, you might get lucky when you're visiting, find somebody who's flexible and willing and cool to work with you on that.
Yeah.
And may or may not charge you. Basically, the renewals for the D7 are done online. They don't ask you anything. You don't submit anything. You just pay a fee.
Got it.
Wow.
That's another point to your timing, because that's what currently is happening. And that came out of COVID to some extent. Doesn't seem to be changing because there's an increase in applications. They had all the people with Brexit. They have Ukrainians, so I don't really foresee them changing that to in-country appointments, because I don't see that they have the people to do that. But I'm not them, and who knows, and things can change. But in the meantime, the appointments or the renewals are literally a couple buttons and paying a fee.
Okay.
So the longer you wait, the more risk that is something different. Okay.
So we both have LLCs.
Right.
Do we just keep running our businesses through our LLCs and getting paid through those bank accounts and then transfer that money to the Portuguese bank account? Like, is that how we just continue our businesses, or?
So I'm not a tax person and an accountant and an attorney and a blah, blah, right? So I can't give you tax advice, but it is probably worthwhile to spend a little bit of money and get good professional advice.
Yep.
And like, I don't know if you caught Zeev Fisher's talk on the summit, but he is
fresh.
Yes, Fresh Portugal. Yeah. And he's really good and he knows what he's talking about. And I paid him, it was like $225 for a half-hour consultation. Okay. But I do feel like that's worth it because he's the only one that I feel like gave me like information I feel like is actually legit. So I would have this call like now with him as soon as you can, basically. Just get that advice on how to structure now because it's well worth the money.
Okay, cool. That's super helpful.
See, what's the website where we can apply for our visa?
Look at him go.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It was great meeting you guys.
You too.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
All right, that's it for today's episode. All the resources that we talked about today are in the description below. See you next time.